Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Meta High School Esports Valorant Week 2. I am Digital Casts, and of course, just like last week for the first shift, it will be Reinhardt joining me on this game. It is a best of one series round robin right now, and this week, for the first game, it will be Blacktown Boys High School versus Bossley Park on Split. Blacktown Boys starting on the attack, and Bosley Park on the defense.
I'm definitely looking forward to how these teams are playing off. Just the selection of agents they've gone with, looking pretty strong. I mean, this is a defense-heavy map. If they can do well trying to get well on attack, it's going to get even better on the defense. So I'm looking forward to see how Blacktown's going to play this out for the first half, because they are attacking, so they are going to be a little bit behind to start things off. And I gotta say, these comps, they're looking pretty good. Especially with the likes of a Cypher at least.
Yeah, a Cypher on Split. Look, I think a Sentinel is somewhat optional to an extent. Cypher not as good as Killjoy on paper, because on Split, Killjoy's ultimate at the very least is much more impactful than Cypher's Neural Theft, which reveals information, which, on a map like Split, it's already decently small enough. It's mainly about the verticality. So the lockdown obviously will benefit the team more. And also, I just want to bring up last week's results, because Blacktown, they won against their opponent St. John's Park High School in 14-12 fashion in overtime as well. But that was on a different map, and Split, as you may know, in the map pool, at least competitively in the pro scene, it's generally treated as a black sheep. No one wants to play Split. It's heavily defense-sided, and this week we do have Blacktown starting on the attack initially, and Bosley Park on the defense. So I wouldn't rate their chances, too high, but then again, we haven't seen Bosley Park play just yet.
No, definitely not. But I've got to say, straight off the bat, before the first round even begins, look at what we're seeing coming out from Blacktown. All 5 members already converged towards A, and the rest of the team, they're a little bit more split up, so they're going to be able to take control and plant this spike almost immediately with the man difference that they've got.
Oh yeah, and there's your A stack coming through. Already 5 players aggressing onto the site. Flashes, the Jet dash, the Jet and Breach flash and dash. They've taken site cleanly. Not really any damage dealt on either side. But do we have Reyna on the side of Bosley Park about to aggress now? Only it's a classic to play with. Has to land the shot. That's a great gravity suck. Manages to take one to Pixie. No overheal just yet. Doesn't need it. And that's only 1 player of Blacktown Boys dead. Another pulse to come through. It stuns a few players. But now the question is, you got 1 kill initially, but the retake has to come through and you have to land these kills. And that's what we're seeing right now. Fantastic team play coming in from Bosley Park. The trades are coming back and forth, but really, it's Bosley Park coming out on top, and Blacktown Boys, they fall for all 5 players like a sack of bricks. Fantastic retake. 3 players standing, easy defuse.
And this is a very good example as to why Split is very strong on the defense. Their whole team, like we saw, Blacktown, really pushed themselves straight through to A without even contesting. But when they planted on the point, they had to look at least 3 different areas to try and see if they can cover their avenues, see where they can try and prevent, a attempt at getting the defuse. But it just didn't work out. In the end, they came from all angles, they got picked out one by one, and then just overall, the first round goes straight over to Bosley, which is going to give them a little bit of that confidence booster leading through to the second round and a bit of a better econ rating.
Oh yeah, I was saying earlier, Bosley Park, we haven't seen how this high school plays, but from what I just saw in the pistol round, how they worked the retake together as a team. Granted, the Reyna picked a little bit aggressively initially, but hey, things worked out fantastically, and honestly, this could be a challenging matchup for Blacktown. But that was good, however, from Blacktown. They managed to bait out a single Nebula from the defense, and they picked up the ult orb on Jeffrey, so he's about halfway there to the Blade Storms, but they are playing together as a whole unit with pistols, though it is inferior. Numbers make up for it.
Numbers definitely makes up for it. And what I've got to point out as well, they're actually feigning on a B spike, on a B charge, and they're going straight through mid, but Bosley's already sort of caught onto the drift a little bit because of the difference between how aggressive they were in round 1, now in round 2, being a lot more passive, trying to disguise themselves for a little bit longer, but we can see Bosley's already caught onto it, and they're going to see what they can try and do and flick around as we see Orenda get 2 headshots with that Spectra. right off the bat.
Yeah, Orenda, you know, didn't really have to use any leaders to play with, and just making a lot of noise over towards ropes. Finally, we'll go up there, I believe, to back up his teammates. And look, the backup has already arrived. Cool Killer picks up one on Pixie, and the attackers, they're not being able to get any positioning right now. The spike is down towards mid, and they're challenging one at a time. Orenda's thankfully not there, but a self-heal on a secret box as he picks up one, and pretty much gonna get the second. Yeah, that's fantastic. Flawless round coming out from Bossley Park. And the best thing is, right, granted, they were easily going to win that round with the gun advantage, but look at Secret Box. He charged up the Sage of Resurrection 4 out of 7 already. Orenda, Empress, 4 out of 6 charges for their ultimate. This is the second round, and there's a world in which they have their ultimates available to play with in the next, as it comes to this round with the bonus versus the full buy of Blacktown boys.
So this is where the difference already accumulates. One side hitting complete full loadouts. They've got 100. They've got the 50 shields. They've got the maximum weapons, and the other side are still trying to hit their point. We're seeing a couple sacrifices. They'll get the gun, but they'll reduce getting the half shield, and that sort of turns your econ rating a little bit lower on top of, because if you're not careful, you essentially have to go and sacrifice another round living with a Spectre or even just a pistol, and sort of setting yourself back even further and possibly handing over another point to your opponents. But I gotta say, straight off the bat, Orenda getting taken out immediately. Things are looking a little bit prosperous to stay at the very least for Blacktown, considering they've had two very unfortunate first rounds.
Okay, two things I want to touch upon here are Orenda as Reyna. We saw him on the pistol round going really aggressive, and thankfully it paid off. But however, in that round it didn't. Cool Killer finally manages to take that one onto Jeffrey, so numbers are even for the time being. And back to the point of Orenda, right? That round, this is the bonus round, sure, but he picked really aggressively aiming by himself, got some intel, but we didn't see his team really play off of the intel. They held their positions. And also, secondly, I want to touch upon, we haven't talked about this just yet, but the agent pick of Sova on this map, you don't see it too often because the lineups and the verticality doesn't favor his util very much. But once again, 1-for-1 trades over towards ropes now, and the spike is down. A Secret Box doing fantastic work for his team, and Lee is just watching his flank while his teammate arrives from the pinch towards ropes. Ideally, allows should be able to get this kill. Sage on Sage action. Yeah. Easy! Oh. And the Secret Box gets surprised. But the problem is, there's only 10 seconds left. They have to rush onto the B side at this point to plant it down. It's all down to Cypher. Can he lock down Heaven? Chi-Man picks up one easy kill, and that's it. Done and dusted. No time to plant. Lee, you're gonna have to save the gun and try play with the into another round. Overall, this round, Reinhardt, look, it's just poor time management at Blacktown. They lost a round they really shouldn't have. Lost 4 rifles they cannot afford to lose.
No, definitely not. They did manage to save 1 econ rating, coming through to this 4th round, which is going to be a little bit of a helpful helping hand, I guess, over for Blacktown. Because they are falling short quite heavily. Like, Bosley did amazing to hold out for a little bit longer. Time was the one factor that they needed to work going into their side. And as we saw, it worked out perfectly. But they did have to sort of sacrifice econ rating in order for that to happen a little bit.
Oh, well, look, now their guns is going to be a bit rough. I won't
I feel like we're going to see it quite a lot, Digital.
Quite? Pardon?
I feel like we're going to see it quite a bit because they are almost max loading out every single round, going for the half shields and going for a good gun like we saw last round where someone picked up a Phantom and went for the half shield. And by that point, he only had 500 creds left in his backpack, which is, if he dies, he's essentially, having to reset himself again.
Yeah. Fortunately, though, right now, most of the players, they have just above the safety line, I do believe, because they've already lost 3 rounds in a row. There's a loss bonus to play with, and assuming they can get a few kills, it should guarantee his team, Blacktown Boys at least, a full buy for everyone in the next round. But now we're seeing action over towards the A side as they're creeping up. But look, there's Astro Util on the defense, already placed towards main, placed towards heaven, placed towards screens. I'm expecting Nebulous to come through, but the gravity suck potentially. Okay, you know what? I take it back. I don't know whose Astro's Util that is. It doesn't show. It's not color-coded on the minimap. I do think it was the attackers as Lee takes down Orenda. Well, deja vu. What can I say? And the spike will get planted by Blacktown. 4v5 retake for Bossley Park.
Standing ahead.
They're already putting themselves in front by having this man advantage.
Oh
no, popping the res actually to change things around. I'm liking where this is going. They were down, now they're up.
Oh, now they're definitely up. A secret box takes down the Laos, and Orenda has popped the Empress and gets vulnerable, and that's a lot of damage being done. 44 HP. He has to go for a kill right now. And overheal. There you go. There's the kill. There's the Empress ultimate overheal. One at a time. Blacktown boys are falling against the mud of Bosley Park. And oh, Reinhardt again. Such a strong retake. Blacktown boys, I think they played decently on Bind, but now on Split, they just seem out of their depth. They're not being able to hold down sites. Everyone's not really covering each other's angles. No trades coming through. And Bosley Park, this is really good momentum and economy.
Can someone get this?
Being able to use Empress and a round 4 just so flawlessly like that, you know they're going to think things are working well for their team. Like Bosley's doing well on defense. The question remains though is how can they play when it comes to switching over to attack, because this is a defense based map, which is not going to work out well if you put up a really good defense but then you put up a really weak attack. Like you have to have somewhat of a combination of both in order to be able to win this. And so far Bosley, I'm liking their defense, but I still have the question is how they're going to do well when they come to attack.
Okay, that was a really interesting Nova Pulse. I'm not too sure why, because as you can see, Chiman, he's on the camera and spotted no one there. Finally, we'll see someone, and just in time, Jeffrey dodges his bullets. The Nebula comes up, and we'll keep the attackers at bay for the time being. But bear in mind right now, the attackers, they have 3 ultimates to play with, soon to be 4. Pixie, 1 off of the Killjoy lockdown, but we should be seeing either Jeffrey or Lee pop his Blade Storm and Lee's Cosmic Divide to allow Blacktown boys to perhaps isolate part of the sites off and go for a site take. Now, they showed aggression over towards B. They're not really taking mid, and they're leaving the Sage over towards A. I'm not really sure what the game plan is right here.
From what I can see at the moment, like we saw in round 2, they're fanning for a B, looking towards an A, but giving themselves the opportunity because we see Sage sitting just outside, keeping vision over on Reyna. And I don't think he's caught on to Reyna being there yet, but at least he's trying to give his team some information to work with. And it looks like they're going to play off of this information.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alas has some sort of intel that Reyna plays in that dead corner. So Reyna, right, here's the thing. He has 2 Leas to work with. He gets that initial kill. He can dismiss the hell out of there to safety over towards heaven. And this is his time to strike. Really? There you go. Picks up Alas. There's your Sage gone. But thankfully, though, Classic manages to get the trade back. About 10 seconds. The spike should be able to get planted. And there's the Killjoy lockdown I was talking about. They can use that to defend the spike. But numbers are even. 4 and 4. No ultimates on the side of Bosley. So this may not be an easy retake as Jeffrey opens up onto his secret box.
Yeah, down 1 person comparatively. You've got a very good defensive position trying to cover all angles, all forms of entrance to keep themselves alive for a bit longer. But just... it could work out a little bit better if they did have Orenda still alive. But they're going to have to work with what's
huge. But it didn't kill anyone though. 1-on-1 trade. Time is ticking down now. Jeffrey still locking down the angle. 2v2. Bosley gonna have to go huge and go fast because the time is running out. And Jeffrey clean 3K headshots all the way to confirm finally the 1-round win on the board for Blacktown boys. Well, I was afraid, but now that they're back in it, not a single ultimate used just yet.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see some more action coming out from there. Like, the headshots were just so aesthetically pleasing, especially with the Reaver skin on the Vandal. You can't go wrong with the Reaver skin. It's just amazing. Like, it's music to my ears. It's so pleasing. But he did really well to flicker on and get those headshots where possible, especially onto Cypher and... oh, you know what? I actually drew a blank for the latest agent. I can't actually remember the agent's name quite well at the moment. It's like I had it before, and now it's just completely drew a blank on me.
Well,
Astra, that's it.
Astra, there you go. Yes. And one small nitpick I'll talk to you in a sec, right? Astra, when you buy her util in the game, those things, right, they're called stars, but in the buy menu, it's called Astra, astral form. I'm like, you put down stars, why are you calling it astral forms? You don't buy astral form charges, it's stars. Oh, look, it is what it is, you know, small things. Quality of life. But now, this round, let's talk about it. Full buys on both teams. Once again, 5 ultimates on some Blacktown boys. Any side should be easy for them to take, and they have taken mid control. Orenda, this could be his chance to strike, but here's the noise, and there is a Sage over towards him to lock it down. Another gravity well, it stuns the place for so long. A secret box though, no slow ups to come through. The gun barrel may be exposed, and he chooses time to strike, gets 1, and the aftershock from Classic takes him down, while Cool Killed holding the angle, manages to backstab Jeffrey. So Blacktown, they had ultimates, but they're not investing anything over towards the side take. 3 players are dead. They are a man down. They have the res though, so things are not out of control just yet. Lee's back on board, and Cosmic Divide, now's the time to pop it, because Pixie, I do think, is trying to ferry the spike over to towards the A side through ropes, but there is a Sova already there to maybe play a sneaky last second few kills, as time is once again running short.
Well, they definitely have a good understanding. They're coming towards A. You've already got Sova nearby. Now down to 2 people. Can they prop it is the better question. Oh, first headshot.
He's bought the time. He's bought the time, and 4 seconds is gone. They can't plant the spike. Reinhardt, this is the 2nd round now that Blacktown boys would use poor time management. They've lost this round. They're down by 4. Allows does get another kill, but look, you're bleeding rounds and you're bleeding cash.
How much blood is left in the system is my question after hearing that analogy. They're 4 rounds down. They managed to have a full let out last time. They did use Sage's ulti. They also managed to get a nice reset going. So things are looking pretty close. Both teams will need to be a little bit more passive towards, their respective offense and defense if they want to be able to make it through to the next round. Because the minute you die after buying a full loadout, you do have the tendency to actually have to sacrifice another round just to get back up to where you were before. And which is that's the most annoying thing that, everyone will come across when it comes to playing Valorant. You have to sacrifice a round just to hit the Vandal and 50 shield pop.
Oh, look, Reinhardt. Now, it's once again, it allows the only player surviving the previous. He will have a gun to work with, but everyone else upgraded pistols at the best. Finally, they're investing more ultimates, and Orenda runs away to safety. His head gets popped though, and that's a flash and dash combo. But Jeffrey, he missed the right click. That's not good, but he still manages to take down Orenda, and we're seeing so much action over towards Mailroom right now. And finally, 04238, Bosley Hunter's Fury picks up 1 kill through the wall. Pixie's gone, may catch yet another. No damage just yet, but look, inferior guns over towards Mailroom. There's no chance really that Jeffrey, he should have gone that kill. That's cool killer. Does get taken out. And now Secret Box holding a off angle. Swords catches the louse. And up the ropes, Jeffrey goes and down he falls. 04238. He confirms the kill. And you know what? I'm curious. What happens if I call the number?
I don't know. I would actually like to see what would happen. But what we saw in that last round, this is what is making Bosley very strong on their defense. They'll have at best 4 people transitioning, towards one location, and you'll have someone like Sova still sitting on A to prepare, to be there in case they decide to pull a fake and go straight over to the other side when they've pretty much herded everybody over into one location. This is what's really making Bosley a really formidable team to verse. And Blacktown, they've got to change up the game a little bit. They need to actually remember that Sova is always going to be away, or at least one member is going to be away until the last second. It's really good because they also have the opportunity to flank it on top of.
Now that is beautiful. They use the Cosmic Divide to cut off Heaven to an extent. And there you go. Orenda again peeks aggressively. There's no teammates to back him up. He has layers to play with. I'm wondering why we're not seeing him use his flashes. It's one of the best flashes in the game. Jeffrey peeks now and takes down Secret Box one at a time. Blacktown boys, they're investing ultimates finally on that side take, and they're picking up these kills. The defenders, Bosley, down to the last 2 players. I don't think this retake is doable, and a save should be in order.
No more charges left.
Just looking at the setup, it's 2 to 5. They should realistically give off this round to them. They don't really have any legs to stand on. All avenues have been covered. They're going to make sure that the remaining 2 members from Bosley do not get caught, do not have a chance on this. The bomb's about to go off.
Enemy remaining.
I kind of wish he actually stayed alive a little bit longer and didn't try to contest that. And with Cypher still alive, things could work better for them.
Charmin! Oh, the double spray down! Allows was already in the trap, and Kalastic walks right through blindly. He does at least find the silver lining in the cloud, I suppose, picking up 2 kills. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. Bosley, they actually can't buy into this, so that's not good. Most of the players, they can't afford. It'll be the first eco, but thankfully, they have a 4-round buffer to play with and a few ultimates.
Well, let's hope they don't throw away too many rounds trying to be a little bit on the aggressive. They still have to go through the attack side of this game too, which is going to be even more troublesome if they don't hold up well in defense. And this is what I'm talking about. If you can't hit good econ, if you can't hit that econ rating needed, you're gonna have trouble. And like we've seen just now, they do have to sacrifice a whole round just to be able to pick up. It's only a good thing that, Charmin managed to stay alive through that he's able to actually compensate and buy someone like Orenda Vandal just to sort of give them a bit of a helping hand.
Uh, well, right now,
You should run.
we're seeing a similar story coming out from the attack side. The Killjoy lockdown does go down, and I have mixed feelings about placing it in that angle. I mean, it's good, and it forces the defense offside and Charmin. You have to run away right now because you might get detained. As Jeffrey and Lee, they open up onto the B and A side simultaneously. The Spiker will get dunked down onto A.
Spike
And
planted.
look, it's down to your last 3 plays on defense. This retake, I don't think it's very much doable. Not much guns to play with. You have 2 rifles and 1 upgraded pistol on Secret Box. The Resurrection is still on the table, but you still have player down, and you don't have flashes to try to retake site with. It's going to have to be dry.
Having this bomb down, they've got good positioning going. But what does sort of make things a little bit questionable is, can they hold out for just as long as Charmin does get taken down?
Ooh.
2 members still alive. They might have to give up this second round as well. They don't really have much of a leg to stand on. And the rest of the team sitting just outside of where...
That's a great tap by a Secret Box, I want to say. And time is running short. He's not going to aggress any further. And there you go. They do give the next round over to the attackers. But... okay, Pixie does go down, so it's not the worst thing in the world. The economy of both teams, it's really struggling, but now it will be favoring Bosley just a little bit, and I take it back, because Blacktown, due to the round win bonus, they will be able to buy their poorer teammates, and look, they're 3-6 now. It's not the best scoreline, but it's definitely workable, considering they are on the attack side of Split.
Hey, if you can get points on attack before meeting a defense on a defense-heavy map, you can sort of like feel the pressure lifting up a little bit. For every point you get on attack, it makes things a little bit easier.
Oh, and now we are seeing finally Blacktown. This is a 5-man coordinated takeover towards the A side. The jet flash and dash potentially, and they are aggressing on. We have 0-4-2. Well, the leader doesn't blind the attacking side. Interestingly enough, as he gets taken down so easily. Gravity suck does come through. Orenda picks up such an easy kill. The debuff was immense there. And the spike will get planted. 4-on-4 retake just got a little bit harder as Jeffrey whips the spray. Goes for a reset. Can't confirm the kill. And this is bloody chaos. They both miss and they both survive. He's got to save and go get a heal from his teammate there. But they do have the Rolling Thunder now to hold down the spike. It should be in their favor regardless. Orenda spots him out. 1 lead to play with and has to confirm a kill. Allows was there to back him up. Now, similar story. 2v4. The retake, it's looking really difficult. Maybe just economy damage is the best thing they can hope for, but certainly it's possible as Cool Killer gets a really good flick onto Jeffrey. The Spiker, though, it's about ticked halfway, and they can't delay any longer if they want to go for the retake now. Initial fault line, it buys more time, it stuns Cool Killer, actually, and there you go, the Spike in its final stages. Things aren't looking too good, but at least if they can keep the last 2 players on the site, that's huge economy damage done, but they won't challenge and will fall back. Another round for Blacktown.
Yeah, the fact that we're seeing Charmin try to stay alive for as long as possible, even though he is bottom fragging for his team, he's actually able to help, where possible. And it's like they are being sort of pressured a little bit more now. They have lost the last 3 rounds in a row. Not exactly very, something very favorable for the team. It's going to give them a little bit more pressure to work with. They're going to have to try and work with what's possible. I gotta say, like, Blacktown are really making recovery on this, and they've completely gone for full lettuce this round. I'm seeing full-on Phantoms and Vandals with 50 shields. The other side of Spectrum, it's a bit more of a spray, like 2 Judges, a Spectra, and 2 Vandals. Oh, I hope they have their close range game going, because this is not exactly going to work well for them, because they're going up against a full loadout team. Minus the Odins, of course. I still remember last week when we had that, there was just everyone buying Odins. It was the Odin meta, I swear.
Odin's on this map, I think it works as well to an extent, but now allows he's carrying the spike. Oh, he had the spike, but they are sort of aggressing over towards B. Shock Dart, not able to confirm a kill, and allows gets that easy spray down onto a Orenda. 0-4-2 though, does manage to get the trade back. The resurrection from both sides. They should be able to have some intel on where they were rezzed, and there you go, the Sage was used already. I think that was maybe a Defender one to guarantee the res, and it worked out in both sides' favor. But Charmin, he's stuck in the corner. The Judge can actually pop up huge here. The flash to come through, and that's a really good cyber cage. It gives him time to play with, but Classic, he knows the angle, sprays through the smoke, takes him down. A side once again ripe for the taking, but the aggressive A position already from a Secret Box, pushes right through the Nebula, confirms 1, confirms 2. Cool Killer catches Jeffrey with his pants down, and 1 by 1, the attackers are falling. It's all down to Laos, the last player, so far away from his team and from the spike. 1v3. I'm not saying it's impossible, but his positioning makes things really difficult.
Talking about making things difficult. I just remembered, like, while looking on here, that even though we are seeing that Bosley are a little bit down from the last 3 rounds,
Mhm.
being able to recover and scavenge up, weapons from, drop players, especially like, the Phantom and the Vandal, could really actually set them ahead for the next couple of rounds because they will have massive econ rating. They won't need to buy anything except for abilities and shields.
Oh, yeah.
It could really sort of force a strong hand, but leading into this last round, we're going to see both sides switching up, and I'm curious to see how they're going to do on attack versus defense because, like we've said so far this entire game, like I don't know how many times, this is a defense strong map, and if they can work well on attack, they're going to do things even better on defense. And being forced on the defense as first up could be a little bit difficult, but I love how Bosley are really playing to playing this to their advantage. They're doing what they can, and they might be getting ready to, moving on to the next round.
This is the first aggressive B-side takeaway we've seen come through as Orenda Oak gets one on kill into Elastic. The jump down and Lee trades back. But 042 is using the shotgun trying to do more damage as Orenda gets yet another. The kill feed is lighting up initially. Trade for trade to protect and allows. He didn't get stunned there, but Orenda's just still being a menace on the side. Triple kill for himself. And finally, cavalry has arrived. Jeffrey, you have to land those blades, but you tag down so low. Charmin, what an angle. He manages to catch one, gets a second jumping down. And that's a really chaotic round there. And the retake very much done. And look, Bosley, they end the first half, 8-4 scoreline. That's pretty good to start things off on defense, but you can't really take away from, what was it, Blacktown boys, because getting 4 rounds, on the attack side, it's workable. But now on the defense, they need this pistol, or else this game may just escape from their hands.
Well, I'm loving how they've done well on defense. Now switching over to the other spectrum, we could see Blacktown boys try and put over a stronger defense because what we saw on attack was they had amazing team synergy. They always played together. They completely, ran as a team towards A. Then in the next round, they started B and then moved on. Yes, the perfect word to define their team effort. They adapt to the current situation. And in a very fast game, you need to be able to adapt in order to actually get those points needed, hit those massive econ ratings, work things to your advantage that the enemy starts off with, and then turn it back on them, like picking up their weapons, for example.
Oh, and now Bosley, I think that they are playing a default of sorts initially. You're playing 2-2 across both sides' main entrances, leaving mid alone. The Sage All on defense gets used towards mid. It's a little bit early, I would think, but then again, that's one less piece of util you can save for a potential retake or sneaky spike defuse. As the Outrun will spot him out and he gets out of there. The Gravity Well as well onto Jeffrey. I have mixed feelings about this. You have limited Astral Stars to work with, and using Gravity Well initially that early on, I don't know, man. You should be using it when you take a site, because that essentially the util did nothing that round. No impact whatsoever. And we are seeing finally action as Bosley they will be choosing the B site to push onto. But surely sound has been made, and there's already 3 players basically on the site. And there you go. That's a Gravity Well that I like to see. Allows us to spot it out. The Sage Wall comes through, and the site gets taken relatively easily. Orenda opening up as a duelist, clearing all the angles. Almost getting killed to Jeffrey, though. And he's getting struck from behind. The pinch. The defenders, they're working well together. Blacktown, like you always used to say. But now the spike is down. Bosley, you're down a player. But now the pressure is on the defenders to retake and defuse. Okay, util's coming through in the initial flash, and there's so many players dashing on. The recon now could be huge here. 542, he gives up his positioning, scans so many. The Cloudburst is fantastic from his jet. They pick up the kills, and oh my god, in the flow of action, Bosley, they turn things around so fast. It's just a complete sweep.
At least 4 to 5 headshots were claimed in that round alone, and I gotta say, even with those shrouds coming out from Jet, they still managed to actually get those picks where possible. The only reason that did not work well for the defense coming out from Blacktown is that they were 3 out of 5 members were all grouped up together.
Do you want to also know the worst thing that round? There was no Jet on the attacking side just then. Jeffrey, that was his Cloudburst that I think changed the round entirely, because the recon arrow was inside his Cloudburst. His team couldn't see, while the defenders, the attackers, could see clearly through the recon arrow, and they just picked up 2 easy frags on 042. But now, Bosley, they're taking a page out of Blacktown's playbook, aggressing as a whole unit over towards the A site, and the 4-stop actually on the other side. It doesn't matter as Orenda picks up 1, joined by Chiman. So the player down for Blacktown, and Lee, I don't know, man. Challenging the enemy team by yourself when no teammates are there to back you up, it's not the best play, I won't lie. As you can see, Orenda's going on an absolute tear right now. Pick up the final few kills. Cool Killer chimes in as well. He wants a slice of the pie, and Bosley, double digits, 10-4.
This game could be over pretty early. They did well on defense. They had a 3-round shortage, but they came back quite well towards the end of the first half. Now coming over to attack, they've won 2 rounds. They need to win the next 3 in order to claim ultimate victory here as the first game tonight. Coming out here for week 2 over at MetaHSC, and I gotta say, Orenda really getting some plays, and I loved the his flanking that came out towards the end of that round, just being able to get 2 clean kills from the side flank without even being caught. Oh, speaking of getting caught, that really punished him.
And you know, a double force-up coming out from Blacktown. I really think they want to maintain momentum and at least try steal around the way. But thankfully, right now, the guns are relatively even. Some players have half armor, some players have no armor. And Orenda, especially that dink early on, it makes him a little bit scared for his life, and the heal has to be used early on. That's 45 seconds on the recharge for the ability at least. And Blacktown, they grouped a lot of resources over towards B early on. And that was a Sage will use, I think, by the attackers, the fake B push. And this just keeps the defense guessing for a bit longer. But so much noise is being made right now through the sewers. And now you do have the Astra in the pivotal position potentially to strike. Orenda checks his corner. It's just a little bit too good. But Lee gets the kill regardless. No armor on Orenda. Secret Box trades back. And his sight is still very much takeable. As Pixie picks up one onto a lurking Chaiman. Blacktown, they are locked off the site, and it should be a plant down easy. But Jeffrey, no, here's something to say about it. He's angry for previous 2 rounds. He wants redemption, and now the 3-man pinch onto Cool Killer. And Blacktown, they do secure, finally, their force-up win.
Showing some light in this dark time, playing Blacktown forced into a corner. They did really well to actually come out and defend that. What I really love when it comes to being on the defense is when every single member on the the attacking side converge onto a point, you back off.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take on all 5 members and expect to get every single headshot, on top of everything else. Like, you wait for the rest of your team, you try and come up with a counterplay. You know they're going to have every angle covered, so you try and see what you can fish up and work to your advantage, because there is a weak point to these types of gameplay, and if you can find those weak points and exploit it, the round is yours indefinitely.
Also, can I just point out a little bit of a side note? Pixie, in that previous round, he doubled his kills from 1 to 2. So, good on him, I suppose. Being a Sentinel, it's not easy. It's tough out there, I'll say. But now the site has been chosen. It's A again, and this time the call is correct. There's only a single breach player on site to hold it down, as he gets taken down really easily. Cool Killer confirms the trade at least. So they have no Sage Resurrection for the attackers to play with, no Sage Slow Orbs to slow down a potential retake, and no wall to block off screens. It doesn't matter when Orenda's popping off, going so aggro, takes on Pixie again. Blacktown, they're getting pinched now. Fantastic swing for 0-2, triple kill for him, and just the teamwork coming out. It's just superior from Bosley, but Blacktown, they adapted in the first half towards the end. They have to do it again, and have to do it soon. This is already 11-5, 2 more rounds, and Bosley, they will take the win.
This happened on defense. Sova is always going to be the odd man out that's going to try and stay inside the shadows, not get seen, not get caught out, and he's just going to go for the flank where possible. He did this well on defense when they decided to feign B and go for A. This time they did the same thing, and he followed them from the back line. The rest of the team showing a display of effort, making a lot of noise, confusing them where they can't keep track of every single member. It was just too late. Like, that double kill coming out from the side as they enter through towards A. Beautiful, to say the very least.
Oh, but now Blacktown on defense, they have a few ultimates to work with. Jeffrey, the carry currently. He's pulled up the Blade Storms, but the side taker will be over towards the B site. And guess who's holding it? Pixie, who has been struggling in this game at the very least. But that's the fantastic util, the slow orb initially. Orenda does get healed back up and walks into a bolt line. There's so much Killjoy util everywhere. They're getting confused as 0-2 picks up the first kill. Pixie's gone, so no more pesky Killjoy util to have to bother with. Now, the spike, I think it can get planted right now. And the Sage Slow Orbs that I was talking about earlier in the previous round. Look, it's just best piece of util in the game, I reckon. You cannot move through it at all. You don't dare to step in it. It gives away your position and it slows you down, making you such an easy target. Now the attackers, Bosley, they've secured the man advantage, and there is ultimates on their side to play with. A resurrection even should have come to it, but the Cosmic Divide on the defense, that may change things a little bit. But everyone, they're playing in such tight corners, and allows on the flank, trying to play sneaky, and 042 from the shadows takes him out again. Classic flashes on, and he has to play with Jeffrey right now, because the flash and dash combo is very deadly. Secret box, good for one, and one at a time. Blacktown, they're just getting picked off. Jeffrey splits up from one teammate again. Lee gets one, he runs out of blades. Lee can't go any further, as Orenda ends things. Match point now for Bosley, 12-5. Reinhardt, I think we are seeing the nail in the coffin.
From what I saw, Breach using his abilities a little bit randomly without any follow-up. I'm feeling this game could be over after if they claim this, the final or match round. Throwing out your blinds without following up with anything of the sort. Like you saw Cypher sitting there with him. No, sorry, not Cypher. You saw Jet, I think it was, sitting there with him, just trying to sort of help peek out here and there. Throwing out your abilities blindly, not exactly something you'd want to do, especially when you're trying to catch them off guard, because they've got more than enough time to react and hide, and you've got too much time to actually try and get out there, because they were too far back when they blew out those blinds.
Yeah, the Jeffrey, he really wasn't there to help out his team and, dash on to, get the timing with the Breach flash and dash combo. And now, this is the final round. It's literally do or die. The guns, it's a pretty scrappy buy, I won't lie. They have half armor and the SMGs to play with. They have to play on site, and Kalastic, his position gets revealed. As far as they know, he's alone on the site. He could have used that chance to escape over to screens and wait for his teammates to rotate over, and they can try to hold down as a unit. But now, I think they're still going for the aggressive peak, which is questionable to an extent. And look at how patient Bosley are playing this. This is good. They showed an initial aggression, baited out a rotation, and now they cut noise. It just creates paranoia for the defense. Blacktown, they've rotated everyone back over to B, and Kalastic, good luck.
Oh, they've got themselves set up. I like this. They're all going straight in. They are lacking at least one member, with Reyna all the way in mid. Gonna try and get for that flank again. This is what I'm loving coming out from Bosley. They'll always have one man missing. They'll completely put them in disarray and catch them off guard. And I think we're going to see it again.
The Cosmic divided ball done, but Charmin dodges it! Oh my god, the corner! They weren't accounting for it! He could be key holding down the side! He whiffs and doesn't get anything. Orenda finally strikes on the flank. Cool Killer gets one onto Pixie, and the Hunter's Fury to come out, finally playing from a safer angle. It buys time for the defuse, and it doesn't matter. Classic gets taken out. It's all down to lonely last player, Lee. Orenda, Classic runs around to Nebula, takes him down. 13-5. So convincing, really, for Bosley. Nothing I can say, Reinhardt.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless just all the same. That last round was explosive. I loved everything about it. Just Bosley really making sure they got what they could. Having Reyna first standing in mid lane, lagging behind the rest of the team to catch them off guard. Then you also had Server using his ulti from actually in front of A on Takker's side. Had his ulti ready to plant just on top as they try to get that that spike defuse. I gotta say, a recipe for success. Congratulations going to Bosley, taking this victory tonight.
Oh yeah, Bosley, I would say they were the newcomer, and well, they are like the fresh blood into this matchup. We didn't see them play last week, but now this week, finally, it's their debut matchup against Blacktown. And they absolutely popped off. They showed their dominance. 13-5? There's nothing to be said about that. Granted, though, I can't deny the map may make a difference. It is split, and not a lot of teams, even in pro scene for OC, have really set strats for split. They just tend to ban it outright. Only the highest tier, the top 4 teams, they actually have a rough playbook of how to play split. But now, look, let's talk about the scoreboard for a brief moment. Blacktown, let's not sugarcoat anything. Some of the players, they just flat out didn't show up. Pixie, 2 kills in 18 rounds. That's not the best numbers you can put up. Even if he can confirm more kills, even just 1 extra per round, that probably would have meant a closer score line. But overall, Blacktown, they adapted initially on the first half, but the second half, we didn't see that coming through at all in the defense. They really fell apart, and overall, the team play and the aggression from Bosley, it just reigned superior. But now, let's talk about the MVP of this game, because you can't really deny it. It will be Orenda, the Reyna for Bosley High. And first, I was going to say Secret Box, But Orenda, towards the start, I was giving him a little bit of cap because he was playing too aggressively by himself without teammates to back him up, and he got killed early on, an easy free pick for the attackers. But towards the second half, he was absolutely stepping up, playing those aggressive angles as Reina, getting the kills, and just, the flank as well, especially towards those final few rounds. 7 assists! Talk about that as well. 7 as Reina. That's huge damage for your team. His ACS, his ADR has to be through the roof. 5 first bloods, and he's always the first player on site. The duelist clearing space for his team.
Well, let's also not forget he managed to also claim 5 first bloods going through today's game. He managed to get a single plant on top of. Talking about Pixie, not the best score, but they did allow him to plant at least 4 times throughout their attacking phase, and that's still pretty good show of effort. The team managed to sit up well when it came to getting onto the spikes, getting onto the points, setting themselves up. The only thing that sort of set themselves back was that Bosley showed up when it came to defending. They knew how to play their game. I love how we always saw Sova lagging behind the rest of the team. They just show a massive display of fireworks. They use abilities left, right, and center. But the one thing that I think Blacktown never fully considered was there one person missing? That is the one thing I still find annoying myself when I'm playing ranked in this game. You can't keep track of literally everybody on the enemy team. If there is one person missing, you're not going to be able to tell very easily. But if you do, I would love to know your secret, that is for sure. I would love to know how you can keep mental track of every single player when it comes to situations like this, because they lagged out the information. They couldn't keep on top of everything, and because of this flaw, it showed a weakness in them, and Bosley worked so well on it. We saw a couple rounds where Sova managed to actually wipe out the remaining team. Orenda catching him out on the sidelines as well when they tried to plant on A.
Yeah,
I gotta say, being able to, find these flaws, create these weaknesses, really showed how well Bosley came in today's match.
And also just to finish things off, right? I think what we just saw was just a different caliber of players in general on Bosley compared to Blacktown. They were more organized. They chose the right times to strike. Their aim was sharper, to say the least. And on Split, a map that's heavily punishing for players that, say, aren't as good, or are starting off on the attack side, that's not a really good combo you want coming into this, especially as well if, say, players haven't warmed up. But regardless, the game's done and dusted. 13-5. Congrats to Bosley. And now we will be going for a short break before the next game starts in a bit. I understand there has been a rescheduling issue, so just follow Meta HSC2 and keep track of the stream, in which you'll see what the next matchup is. And guys, thank you for watching at least game 1 for the first of 3 games tonight. I'm your caster, Digital Casts, and of course Reinhardt. You too. Thank you everyone, and see you soon.